So a question I get a lot is how to price your products and services. And there's an example that I like to give, and I actually saw this in real life. When you're placing yourself as an expert, at a high-end expert, which you want to do, your prices need to reflect that. So to give you an idea of price perception, I was driving down the road and there was a car, looked like a decent car from a distance, and it had a sign on the back of the window that was handwritten, and it said $400 cheap as chips. So the question is, when you buy a vehicle, what do you buy a vehicle for? You buy a vehicle to get you from A to B, right? So this vehicle may have looked fine, but the sign said cheap as chips. And the first thing you're going to think about after colour, because if you're a woman, that's pretty much what we think about first, the colour of the car, but then we think about the engine. Are we going to need to get things fixed on it all the time? Is it going to be reliable? Are we going to end up being stuck in the rain somewhere because it breaks down? Maybe if you've got kids, you're stuck on the side of the road with the kids. That's happened to me once before. So when you're going to buy a vehicle, you want to make sure that it works well. So if you're driving down the road, you see a vehicle that says $400 cheap as chips, you're going to start asking yourself some questions, aren't you? Sounds a bit dodgy. Engine's probably not going to be that good. Your perception of that car based on that price. Whereas if you were driving down the road and you saw a vehicle that in nice font stuck on there properly, it was the same vehicle, looked the same, and the price tag was $4,000 or something like that, which is probably for that particular car was more likely, then you're going to look at that engine and assume that your perception of how that engine is going to work is going to be completely different to how it would be if you'd looked at the $400 one. So my point here is when people look at your products and services, if you're cheap, too cheap, down lower end of the market, they're going to assume that your services are going to reflect lower end, cheap side of the market as well. So to place yourself as the higher expert, you need to increase your prices. Now, so that kind of freaks some people out. So just to share a story, quite a few years ago, one of the services I was offering, I was told to triple my prices. Well, told to up my prices, and I thought, you know what? I was crapping myself that nobody was going to buy my stuff. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to triple the prices. And I did it in the shopping cart. I went to bed that night and I was honestly, I could hardly sleep. I'm just going, I'm not going to have any clients. Nobody's going to buy my services. That night I made 2 sales. And because I had tripled my prices, I made more in those 2 sales than I would have made out of 6 sales. So the next morning when I'd gone and seen those products purchased and that money in my account, do you think I ever questioned raising my prices again? And the other thing was, not only did I not question that, I went through, I increased my prices again later on, and it didn't actually change my conversion rate, which means it was probably still too low. So with your conversion rate, you're probably going to lose some people if you increase your prices. But the beauty of it is it means that you're going to get higher caliber clients. They're going to take more action and do more of the work or take advantage of the service and just be better clients. Now, the couple of examples here, when you're going on a flight, you get those cheap seat flights. You know that you're probably not going to get the food, you're not going to get the service, you're not going to be able to take as much luggage. And then if you buy a full ticket price, you know that you're going to get a little bit more VIP, right? Accommodation, there's another example. Here's accommodation that's $10 a night. Here's accommodation that's $200 a night. Without seeing those rooms, which do you think is going to be the better service? So in closing, no matter what your industry and no matter where your prices are right now, up your prices, even just 20%. Have a look at what that does to your business, the caliber of clients that it lifts you up to, and it makes you enjoy your business more if you've got clients that you really like working with. So the important thing with increasing your prices is, of course, then you have to deliver. So if they come to you and view your prices and that's their perception, then they're going to see your branding, your marketing, your blog, maybe some video blog posts or even some written blog posts. It's going to back up your prices, and they're going to see that you really know what you're talking about. And when you deliver that in your industry, it's going to build your raving fans and your video testimonials and everything that you can put out there, proving that not only are you priced as an expert, but you deliver like an elite expert in your industry.